Jimmy Kimmel is back, and it is driving Donald Trump batshit crazy. Which is why tonight, Kimmel, with maybe the biggest audience he has ever had, delivered what can only be described as a knockout blow of a monologue, and it led Donald Trump into a crazed posting tantrum in which he admitted to the real reason that Kimmel was suspended. We are going to get into the monologue. We are going to get into the Trump freakout. We are going to get into it all. Before we do, if I could quickly ask you to leave a like on this video, and if you haven't already, and you enjoy our channel, to hit that subscribe button, because it goes a long way in supporting our work. Now, we are going to check out this hilarious monologue from Jimmy Kimmel and then get into the posting tantrum that it made Trump go into. But unfortunately, we can't watch the clips because ABC will block them from being played on this show. So we're just going to go through them one by one, and we're going to see Trump's freak out. Jimmy Kimmel opened up his show with a shot at FCC Commissioner Brendan Carr, saying, "Brendan Carr is the most embarrassing car the Republicans have embraced since the Cybertruck. He hit Donald Trump exactly where it hurts most, bringing up the Epstein scandal, saying he might have to release the Epstein files to distract us from this." Now, Kimmel mocked his employer a little bit, saying of Disney, "Disney has asked me to read the following statement, and I agreed to do it. To reactivate your Disney Plus and Hulu account." Robert Darrow also joined the fun. Of course, he is one of the bigger Trump critics out there, saying, "I gotta go." A couple of cases of Tylenol fell off of a truck, and now I gotta figure out how to put autism in them. Kimmel had a lot of fun mocking Donald Trump for his quote-unquote autism press conference, saying of Trump, "That's right. Follow the advice of Donald Trump, and you too can look like a glazed ham with deep vein thumpers." Kimmel's show then put together a montage of Trump insisting dozens of times to not take Tylenol. Jimmy Kimmel then ended his show with the most important sentiment of the night. The President of the United States made it very clear. He wants to see me, and the hundreds of people who work here fired from our jobs. Our leader celebrates Americans losing their livelihoods because he cannot take a joke. Kimmel then closed on this important and prescient note. This show is not important. What is important is that we get to live in a country that allows us to have a show like this. Jimmy Kimmel is absolutely right. The real issue here isn't whether you've been his biggest fan over the years, whether you caught his monologues on YouTube, enjoyed his Oscar hosting, or remember his stand-up. What truly matters is that in this country, we should be able to tell jokes and express ourselves freely. The MAGA movement often claimed they were bringing back comedy and free speech. But in reality, what we've seen is selective outrage and an unwillingness to take criticism. Former President Trump has often shown how easily he gets upset when jokes are made at his expense, and this time was no different. Reports suggest he was frustrated not only by Jimmy Kimmel's humor, but also by what Kimmel planned to cover on the night his show was taken off the air. Instead of this being about comedy, or even the coverage of other events, it became clear that Trump himself had a role in trying to silence a critic. Yet, his supporters pushed a different story, that this was a business decision connected to comments about Charlie Kirk, but the facts don't align with that narrative. Kimmel had pointed out the uncomfortable truth. Trump was attempting to use Kirk's tragedy for political purposes, even though the two were not close. That criticism struck a nerve, and despite the spin from Trump's allies, his own public statements made it clear that this was about silencing a comedian who had touched on issues he didn't want discussed.
I've never heard them care about the Constitution so much. Their First Amendment. This has nothing to do with the First Amendment. This has to do with the business decision, as you noted.
So the decision to suspend and I suspect eventually cancel Kimmel is a business decision by ABC.
But similar to Kimmel, he's getting the boot because, well, he was just bad for business.
You can like or not like Disney's decision on Kimmel. But until I see proof of actual government coercion of their decision, this is about Disney making a business decision about its brand.
Yeah, that was obviously a business decision, as evidenced by the fact they're going to reinstate him. I think he's going to be on the air later tonight. So I think it was a business decision.
And if ABC wants to suspend you because you got wrong the assassin of Charlie Kirk, more power to them. That's got nothing to do with the First Amendment. That's a business decision.
You hear that, guys? Business decision. That's what they're saying. That it was a business decision. Got to defend Mr. Trump, got to defend the dear leader. But the dear leader didn't do himself any favors because tonight, because Jimmy Kimmel is under his skin, that ham-lazed skin, he melted down, threw up this post on Truth Social, and boy is it backfiring. I can't believe ABC fake news gave Jimmy Kimmel his job back. The White House was told by ABC that his show was canceled. Something happened between then and now because his audience is gone and his talent was never there. Why would they want someone back who does so poorly, who's not funny, and who puts the network in jeopardy by playing 99% positive Democrat garbage? He is yet another arm of the DNC, and to the best of my knowledge, that would be a major illegal campaign contribution. I think we are going to test ABC on this. Let's see how we do. Last time I went after them, they gave me $16 million. This one sounds even more lucrative. A true bunch of losers let Jimmy Kimmel rot in his bad ratings. Donald Trump has once again shown his hand. Why would a major network reach out to the White House about canceling Jimmy Kimmel's show if there wasn't political pressure involved? From the very beginning, it was clear that this wasn't about ratings or business. It was about influence and the attempt to silence a critic. Trump has often tried to present himself as unstoppable, as though every lawsuit and every plan of his is destined to succeed. But the reality is very different. He has lost repeatedly in court. He is losing in the court of public opinion, and his attempts to appear untouchable keep falling apart. What really frustrates him the most, though, is when ordinary people push back and win. Disney and its platforms felt the pressure when viewers canceled subscriptions, walked away from Disney Plus and Hulu, and made their voices heard. That financial impact was impossible to ignore. And it wasn't because of Trump. It was because of everyday people deciding to take a stand. This shows the power of collective action. Corporations often prioritize stock prices, mergers, and executive perks over consumers. But when people come together and refuse to accept that, even the biggest companies can be forced to listen. That is what happened here. They blinked first. This is about more than one late-night show. It's about protecting free expression, holding corporations accountable, and proving that organized people are stronger than powerful institutions. That's the kind of energy that should carry forward into 2026, 2028, and beyond. We don't need empty statements or symbolic gestures. We need real action. And that point was underscored today by Senator Mark Kelly, who openly criticized Trump's performance at the UN and reminded the country that leadership requires strength, discipline, and honesty, not personal grudges or attempts to silence critics. Together, the message is clear. People have the power to fight back. Leaders are calling out the failures, and no one, not even Trump, is beyond accountability.
He's adding more countries every day. Yes. Yeah, I think it's because, he said before the election that he was going to end the war in Ukraine and Gaza on day one. Unrealistic. And it seems like he's insecure about this, not being able to accomplish what he promised. I think folks have to just stop listening to him. I think that I feel really bad about having to say that. Or maybe we just give him a medal. Remember at the end of The Wizard of Oz?
He really wants one.
The end of The Wizard of Oz, the wizard gave the lion a medal I think that's the point.
I think if you could do a Truman Show Nobel Peace Prize sort of thing for him, you would be extremely excited about it. But that point you made, I mean, I want to ask you about these two conflicts. One is today he came out seeming to sort of oscillate back towards Ukraine, and maybe they can get all their territory back, and now open again to sanctions. Now, again, people talk this 180, but part of the thing with him is this inconstancy means you never know if that, like, whether that's going to last. Where do you see our role in that conflict right now?
Well, I think we still need to support our ally Ukraine, help them. You know, we used to give them, now it's done through European nations, selling them the equipment they need to defend themselves. The war has changed dramatically. I sit on the Armed Services and the Intelligence Committee. In the beginning of that war was a lot of artillery, exchange of artillery fire. That's where some ground would be made or lost. That is now FPV, first-person drone warfare, which has really changed what ground combat looks like on, well, certainly in Europe. We have to continue to support them. It's also not realistic, you know, what the president said today. I think he even said something about maybe Ukraine would gain some Russian territory.
Yeah. We can take on the bullies, and we're going to celebrate every single victory together on this show. Some battles will be tough, and yes, there have been some rough days recently, but your support has kept me going, and I appreciate that more than I can say. If you want to keep backing the show, you can hit that subscribe button and leave a like on this video, drop a blue heart in the comments, and until next time, I will see you soon.